Kakarot, friend? Hey guys, MasakoX here, and April Fools! For those of you who are actually expecting me to be reviewing Dragon Ball Super Episode 1, you're gonna have to wait another week for that, because we gotta be dealing with a certain thing that people have been asking me to do, and I've really been putting it off because it was incredibly dumb. But this is the day of being dumb, so why not? We're doing What If Broly Turned Good. But Masako! Broly's a movie character! How dare you make him canon! I think you'll find it's April the 1st, April Fool says we can, and so we are. I'm going to be taking certain liberties with the script, try and mesh the movie and the TV series into one, so we can be a little bit crazy here. And given the fact that the beginning of this story comes from the 10th movie, Broly's Second Coming, the only DBZ movie I have yet to watch, and I'm planning to keep it that way. Picture this. It's after the 8th movie, Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan. Broly's been defeated by Goku, somehow it involved green goop. Broly somehow managed to survive, find a pod. He was incredibly injured though, to be fair. I mean, you know, green goop does that to you. And it somehow took him conveniently to Earth. I mean, to be fair, it happened to baby Goku somehow ending up on Earth, so I guess it can happen twice. As I've heard and seen in clips, Broly gets entombed in tons and tons and tons of ice. However, in this scenario, I'm going to have it so that means when Broly lands, there is a massive avalanche. So Broly does try and escape the pod, but he is met with head injury after head injury. So you know what happened with Goku, but there's no time to think about that. He is knocked back into the pod, it closes, it gets entombed, stasis status, so you know he's frozen in suspended animation, and that's him done for several years. As far as I can remember, it's something to do with Goten crying about not getting any apples or being really hungry for apples. It somehow causes the ice to crack, revealing Broly escaping from the pod and taking Goten by surprise. However, unlike the movie, Goten's crying doesn't send Broly into a whirlwind of rage and thinking he's a young Kakarot. He reacted to it because it was potentially someone who could support him. So Broly, instead of just shouting, Kakarot! He's just going, help! Help! Hours later, Goten never heard him. He just went back to get some apples, I don't know. Broly's still crying out for help, and eventually it's just like very weak, help! The following morning, Videl can sense something weird going on in the forest, which is Broly by the way, and feels like Goten and Trunks should go and check it out because they could take on pretty much anything. When Goten actually concentrates and focuses on the weird energy going on in the forest, he recognizes it to be something like of a Saiyan, but it's very weak. It must be someone hurt. When he eventually comes across the injured Broly, Broly looks up and spots Goten. Goten asks whether this guy's okay. He doesn't know that this is Broly because he doesn't know specifically what he looks like. And instead of getting angry at Goten and going off the handle like in the movie, he just looks up and just goes, Kakarot? Goten is aware of Goku's name, Kakarot, but isn't familiar with the actual background behind it. He's just going, no, I'm Goten. Goten. And then passes out. Goten then begins to panic, not knowing what to do. Has this guy died? Is he just unconscious? What's he gonna do? He could take this guy back to Videl, but she might be all lame and stuff, and this guy might not be able to be trusted or something like that, so he's got to think of something else. So instead of getting Videl embroiled in all of this, he rushes back to the camp at full speed and wakes up Trunks, going, Trunks, Trunks, you gotta come help! This is something really weird happened in the forest, you gotta check it out! And Trunks like, what? Weird stuff? Yeah, cool. I'm really bored anyway. Trunks is willing to go, but he's kind of suspicious when Goten asks him to grab a blanket, some food, and things that they could prepare a little fire. Broly is still unconscious at this point, but he is breathing. Barely. And Goten wraps the blanket around him, and Trunks prepares a fire, and they kind of get some food cooking. Broly briefly stirs from his slumber after the smell of food, calmly eats some of it, regaining some of his strength, but then falls back asleep again. Goten thinks that they can't leave him here like this, he might just freeze and die of starvation. He doesn't know what to do. So Goten then suggests that maybe he should take him home, and Trunks is going like, I don't know, Goten. I don't think your mom's gonna be really happy about this guy suddenly going into your house.
I've got like a forest nearby our house, and we just leave him there, and I can bring him food every day.
They pick up Broly and what remains of the food and supplies, bail on Videl, and actually head to Goten's place. They safely make sure Broly's okay, and then walk back to Goten's house and ask Gohan whether he has any of those sensu beans knocking around during Goten and Gohan's training, because they do that from time to time. Gohan makes sure to have a small supply ready. Sure enough, Gohan does have some left, albeit just a couple. As Broly regains his strength, he's able to sit up for a little bit, wrapped up in the same blanket, all dazed and confused. Grateful for Goten's presence, but unable to really process what's going on. Goten and Trunks are getting really excited because this guy can talk. They're asking him all kinds of questions, where he is, who he is, what he came from, all this kind of stuff. Is he good? Is he a Saiyan? Can he go Super Saiyan and stuff like that? Broly doesn't know how to think about all of this. He only knows two things as of this point. He remembers that his name is Broly and that he has to find someone called Kakarot.
Kakarot give Broly answers. Kakarot help Broly. Goten take Broly to Kakarot.
Goten gets a little sad about this because, unfortunately, Kakarot, or his dad, is currently dead, and he's never met him before. Broly is saddened by this news because one of the things that he remembers is kind of fruitless. But then Goten thinks, well, we could bring him back with the Dragon Balls and stuff, I suppose, because Goten doesn't really remember the fact that Goku chose not to be here.
Broly like plan, tiny Kakarot.
Goten, in a fit of excitement, then whips back to their house and asks Gohan where the Dragon Radar is. Now Gohan's getting really suspicious. You know, first sensu beans, then Dragon Radars? Why? Goten doesn't like confrontations and immediately kind of gets all sheepish. He then retreats from the room. Gohan thinks that he should start keeping an eye on Goten because he's being really shifty at the moment, and he wants to make sure that he and Goten don't get in trouble with their mother. However, Chi-Chi begins to notice something weird in Goten as well, because he's really off of his food. He's not eating as much as he used to, and he's a half Saiyan, remember? But little does she know, Goten's actually packing it away in a small bag and then taking it to Broly to feed it him in the forest. As even more days pass, Broly regains his strength, and eventually he is able to fend for himself, so Goten doesn't need to do that, but a lot of this time Chi-Chi gets very concerned. But that being said, Broly still appreciates the visits with Goten and Trunks.
They're his tiny friends.
And the recovery isn't just his physical strength either. Those sensu beans that Goten gave him was also really good in helping his mental capacity regain strength as well. So he will be able to improve his lexicon, the way he speaks. It'll come back to him. However, things begin to take a turn for the worse when Gohan finds out that Videl was bailed on by the kids when they went to Natade village. Why would they leave Videl all alone in the middle of a village like that for no reason? So he immediately confronts Goten and demands an explanation. Like I said before, Goten doesn't really like confrontations, so after trying to be all stubborn and ignorant, he eventually coughs up and says that they found something and it's in the forest and they wanted to make sure it was okay, and offers to take Gohan to it. When Goten approaches Broly, Broly can sense Goten's presence and immediately comes into plain view, thinking that,
Ah, Goten, you come back.
But when Gohan strikes eyes upon Broly, he's just horrified. Broly? Goten, what have you done? Gohan immediately powers up to Super Saiyan and Broly cowers in fear. Gohan then prepares an attack, trying to finish Broly off, but then Goten stands in the way. But Gohan is extremely determined. This is the same Broly that he, Vegeta, Piccolo, Trunks, and his own father tackled 7 years ago. He is not going to let this guy get away with this. This is the perfect chance. He's weak, he's feeble, he doesn't know how to go Super Saiyan, so it seems. So yeah, they could be rid of him once and for all. Goten then looks to Broly and then to Gohan. He's absolutely confused, but resolute in protecting his new friend. If he were truly evil, like Gohan claims it to be, would he really allow Goten and Trunks to survive when they first saw him? You know, that kind of stuff? Gohan pauses for a moment thinking about this, and then Broly says his piece.
Broly friend. Broly need to find Kakarot. Kakarot has answers.
Broly's beginning to feel a little threatened, and this triggers some inert power inside of him. He can feel it rising and rising. Goten can sense this and begins to panic. He turns around to Broly, trying to calm him down. Judging by Goten's behavior, Gohan can sense that his little brother's telling the truth, but remains focused and determined to stick his ground. If this guy truly is different from the monster that I remember, tell him to stand down now! Broly then looks to Goten, and then to Gohan, and immediately, he powers down. He reverts back to his base form, and then walks calmly back into the forest. Goten then turns back to his brother and looks mad.
You scared him! He was just afraid! He was trying to protect himself! How could you? He doesn't remember a thing before he found him! The only thing he remembers are his name and to find Dad!
Dad? After much debate and toing and froing, Gohan offers to keep the secret and not tell anyone else about Broly's presence on Earth. Because if he did tell anyone, then the likes of Vegeta and pretty much everyone else would descend upon Broly and destroy him. The pair settle their differences and then head home, with Goten just turning around one more time and going,
Broly.
before walking back home. For the next few weeks, things remain pretty placid. Gohan and Goten are able to keep the secret between them. Chi-Chi's suspicions calm down just a little bit, with Gohan coming up with the most ingenious idea, saying that, well, Goten's going to the forest because, he likes to learn about wild animals. Yeah, we're going on nature walks. Yeah, Mom. Broly's mental capacity increases further. He and Goten are now really good friends. Gohan, that's gonna take a little while since, he threatened his life and all that. Broly trusts Goten enough, so when Goten asks him to remain in the forest and to stay there unless there's an emergency, Broly complies. However, Goten doesn't bank on something quite big happening, the 25th World Martial Arts Tournament. It starts off alright with everyone preparing for the event and stuff, they're thinking it's pretty cool. Goten wants to take part in the junior division, but then suddenly the news comes out that Goku's gonna come down for the day and meet everyone. Goten's going to get to see his dad for the first time. Goten doesn't tell Broly though, because he knows that Broly will get all jumpy and stuff like that. So when Goku actually descends to Earth and everyone's at the arena, Broly then senses something, remembering, and going, Kakarot? Kakarot! But then he remembers Goten saying to never leave the forest unless it's an emergency. But this is an emergency! Kakarot's here! This is really important! Broly chooses to break Goten's promise and actually leave the forest to head off in search of Kakarot. It's gonna take a while for Broly to actually get to the arena, so the tournament occurs as it would do in the original story. Goten's so wrapped up in his fight with Trunks and all that, and all those escapades, he doesn't sense Broly approaching at all. However, since Gohan's not really doing much right now, he can sense Broly approaching, but before he can actually pull Goten aside and actually tell him that, why is Broly coming here? Spopovich then encounters Videl, and that whole thing happens. Yay! Everyone is distracted, especially Gohan. So more and more of the events that happen at the tournament occur. So we get Spopovich and Yamu draining Gohan and all that, Shin making himself known, the gang having to head off to Babidi. And this is the moment when Broly's about to actually head down into the arena area itself. He then spots several key trails heading upwards and away from the arena. They're all heading off to Babidi's spaceship. So Broly just thinks, well, that's where they're going. And Kakarot's with them! Now Goku can sense something weird approaching from behind them, but they have to remain focused because Shin's trying to tell them stuff that's important to the mission.
Oh, sorry, there's a thing back there.
There's no time for that, Goku. Listen! As the gang land a safe distance away from Babidi and Dabura, Broly then lands a further distance away, witnessing the event. He's trying to figure out when the best time is to actually talk to Kakarot. They all witness the moment when Babidi collects the energy and then blows up Spopovich and Yamu as a result. Broly's really excited now. He can feel the energy just pumping up inside of him. He's getting more and more impatient. He doesn't like to wait. He wants Babidi to stop his jabbering, all of this hyperbole. He's getting really bored of this. He's getting angry. Eventually, Broly has had enough. He powers up into Super Saiyan form and immediately charges at Dabura and Babidi, just shouting, Kakarot! Goku immediately recognizes that voice and is going like, Broly? What the? As Gohan tries to fill in the gang about the situation, Dabura immediately tries to counter Broly. But for those of you who actually saw the movie, you might remember that Broly's Super Saiyan power could easily outclass Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. And since Super Saiyan 2 Gohan could hold his own against Broly, then Broly is going to pound Dabura. After a brief encounter, Dabura is gone, and Broly squares up against Babidi.
You, little potato head man, you talk too much.
He fires a huge Omega Blaster, which not only takes out Babidi and the energy container, but a good portion of the vessel that lies underground. Everybody is stunned. What just happened? Well, Broly basically just stopped the Buu saga from happening. And I think that's where we will leave things right now. And yes, I know, this was absolutely ridiculous, but hey, it's April Fool's, so why not? So what did you guys think? Did you like this Iron Giant-like story? Would you like me to continue it? Let's put a poll up there, let me know what you think. But I hope you enjoyed this video either way. Leave a comment below. But until next time, guys, catch you later.